In the beginning was the hype, the loud fanfare as I grabbed the mic. Sucker MCs step with no clout. Don't quit your day job or your paper route. Fantastic and bombastic. We drop the rhymes like sonic booms. That's the kind of hype that can clear this room. The packaging is nice. We're building it to sell. Call all your people in Hollywood and Nashville. What's up, Todd Turner? Speaking of Nashville, how you doing, bud? Oh, all right, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast as we are jumping in to You Are Mr. Bombastic. I have no doubts, bro. Um, but make sure I got all my audio in the right places. Um, hope you're doing well. We're in the first weekend of April. It is Good Friday of Holy Week, and I've been doing more with Holy Week than I've ever done in my life. Our church kind of decided to kick it up a notch on some things, and so we're doing stuff and trying to be a little bit more engaged, involved, and focal on how we do Holy Week. So it's been an adventure for sure, and right on. Um, yeah, I hope y'all are all doing well. Just jump right into it because I'm gonna go to work after this and squeeze in some April hours, considering I've got Monday and Tuesday off for Easter, which I'm excited about. Um, uh, Out the gate, if you did not see, Wonder Man has gotten a second season. This is without a doubt. Wonder Man was the best new Marvel show I've seen in a while. The acting was superb. The storyline was not crazy over the top. Um, it dealt with brokenness and acting and all sorts of cool stuff on those lines. So if you're a honestly, I don't know how many people were Wonder Man fans before this, but if you enjoyed Wonder Man or you just want to get to watch a good show, Wonder Man season one is all out and it's short. Season two will be coming, so that's nice to see. CBS has officially canceled DMV and Watson uh, ahead of the 2025 or ahead of the 2026 fall season. So DMV and Watson both have been canceled in those regards. Jelly Roll picked up his first win in the WWE this past Friday. Um, People are also slightly complaining that they feel like they're being force-fed Jelly Roll, like they don't want him as a wrestler, but he's there. But here's the deal: you don't really get to choose who's on the shows you watch unless you're talking about American Idol, um, or shows where you can vote people off. So I get it. Jelly Roll is enthusiastic. He wants to be on a wrestling show, and he is doing his darndest. So let him cook. But he got his first win over Kit Wilson after getting Danhausen to curse Kit Wilson. So there you go with that. John Cena has been announced as the host for this year's WrestleMania. So if you're interested in just seeing uh, the Never Seen 17 hosting, it'll be fun. I think The Miz is the best host I've seen so far, but I haven't watched a lot of WrestleManias. I've only been back around wrestling for about 3 years, and I won't be watching this one because I don't have ESPN and I don't VPN, and I'm not paying $30 to watch it. Just there's nothing on the card that would make me say, "Ooh, I need to pay $30." I'll watch the TikTok highlights later and, you know, be okay with it as it's going. Let's see. A new study has revealed that areas surrounding data centers uh, are 16 degrees warmer than normal. The centers may be creating localized heat islands that are creating warming effects more than 6 miles from the sites, adding a new environmental challenge concerned to the AI boom and potentially affecting an estimated 340 million people nationwide in terms of health and community environment. It is reported that 26 people were killed by militants on Palm Sunday in Nigeria as they were heading to Palm Sunday services. Um, it's the ongoing story of violence and injustices going on in Nigeria, especially towards people of Christian faith. But 26 people killed on the way to Good Friday services. And honestly, Tristan, good morning, dude. Uh, Tristan, I remember I sent you the a little video of statues and stuff at the last big Comic-Con I was at. I need to show you the one that made it to my house. Uh, but yeah, the ongoing story of militants being killed or killing and wounding people in Nigeria has not ceased in terms of Christianity and definitely picked up over the Holy Week, and like, more are expected. The live action Avatar: The Last Airbender will hit streaming on June 25th. If you're a fan of the first season, um, it was a good season, and I recommend giving it a try. I do think that One Piece live action is still the best live action one. Jared, good morning, brother. I think One Piece live action is still the best Netflix live action anime, but Avatar wasn't bad. Um, I really remember when it was dropping because that was when I was in Lexington with Todd, and around the time book 8 was being written. There's a whole season of life that went with that. But yeah, if you are familiar with the, I don't even know what to call them. They're very 21 Pilots. Capital Kings are officially leaving Goatee Records after 15 years, and going independent. They believe that it's time for them to move away from Goatee Records and all things associated currently and to focus on their solo stuff. That's the data center thing. A couple made a suggestion about getting married at Bucky's as a joke, and then followed through with it with a full Bucky's wedding with the couple getting married in front of the beaver statue. Um, the Curtis family said it was very on brand to be their wedding destination, and their photos look great. So congratulations to the Curtis family who decided to get married at a Bucky's, and I wish you all the beaver nuggets in the world. If you are a Pokemon Go fan, uh, Mimikyu was released in Pokemon Go for the first time on April 1st, which people were speculative on if it was going to be a real thing or not, because it was releasing on April 1st. But I tell you, the one thing I have noticed is that you can't put a Mimikyu in a gym yet. And I don't know if that's an upcoming thing, an ongoing thing, or what the deal is with that, or if that's part of the April Fool's joke, but you can't put a Mimikyu in a gym. I don't know if you can trade one yet either. I haven't tried. Oh boy, it's early. It's been a really long week, y'all, and I'm really grateful for the news I'm not reporting. If that makes any sense, if you know some of the stuff that's been going on in my real world bubble, um, there's much worse news I could be reporting, but I don't have to, so I'm grateful. Megan the Stallion was rushed off stage Tuesday during the middle of her performance of Moulin Rouge, where she plays Ziegler. She was about halfway through her performance and became very ill and was rushed to the hospital. If you have children or you just like Nuggies, Great Value, which is the Walmart brand Dino Nuggies in the blue bag, has officially been recalled for lead contamination. So if you are a owner or purveyor of Walmart Dino Nuggies, or even Sam's Dino Nuggies, you need to check your lead levels and check your nuggets before you become extinct as well. So that is the Great Value, fully cooked, dino shaped chicken breast nuggets, breaded shaped patties with rib meat, with a with cute dinosaurs on the bag. So if that's you, check that. There is a Game of Thrones prequel play that will be debuting this July, called The Mad King, because we've got Game of Thrones in every content form. We absolutely needed a stage play as well. So Game of Thrones, The Mad King will officially be dropping this July. I don't know where, and I didn't spend enough time to do research. I'm just letting you know what's happening. Christopher Reynolds, good morning, dude. I'm having to refresh my comment section because for whatever reason, last couple weeks it has not been popping up the way it's supposed to. Ted Bundy has now been linked to an unsolved murder from 53 years ago. He has been tied to the unsolved murder of 17-year-old Laura Ann Aim of Utah. They were able to use some of Bundy's DNA to pull back some evidence from 53 years ago and have since linked the killer to the murder, adding one more to Ted Bundy's body count. And honestly, Tristan Birch says, how does lead get into dino nuggies? Bro, first of all, how do you make dino nuggies? Uh, and when does chickens have rib meat? Like, there's lots of questions there. Um, Electricology, good morning. But yeah, lead and the great value of dino nuggies, and Ted Bundy found guilty of, or Ted Bundy now uh, credited with a murder from 53 years ago, thanks to DNA. Forrest Frank, if you're a Forrest Frank fan, which is almost a tongue twister, Forrest Frank has a new band and a new album based on music that he created with a homie going surfing every morning. Forrest Frank has really recently taken to surfing, and he and a friend were getting up at 4 and 5 in the morning to go surf. Which that practice of surfing that early is called Dawn Patrol. So they named their band Dawn Patrol, and they made a whole album off of the vibe they were getting of worshiping God in the morning, super early in the nature and all the things. And they made this album called Dawn Patrol. They had a single that was charting pretty well. Um, but then shortly after that, uh, there was complaints from other artists that had called themselves Dawn Patrol and debate over the naming and licensing of it. Effectively, uh, they knew Forrest Frank had money and they could, fight for it. So they're scrapping the name Dawn Patrol and are currently looking for a new band title. And if you want to suggest to Forrest Frank what his new band title should be, you can head on over to Forrest Frank's uh, Instagram and give him some love there and let him know. Um, he's got just from his little video about the band title thing, he had some encouraging things to say, so I thought it was pretty cool. Haley Steinfeld, Spider Gwen slash the lady from Sinners slash Hawkeye, Haley Steinfeld. Um, I never saw the Bumblebee movie with her. But Haley Steinfeld and Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen have officially welcomed their first baby into the world. Congratulations to both of them. The Dungeon Crawler Carl books by Matt Denneman are officially coming to TV as a series on Peacock. So if you're a fan of Dungeon Crawler Carl, or you want to be cool and see what the other kids are into, but you don't want to actually have to read another book series, you'll be able to check out some stuff on Peacock with that coming up. Um, I see a lot of people at cons excited about this, but I don't know enough about the fandom to know like what I'm seeing if I'm passing by Crawler Carl stuff. Batman Nightfall Part 1 will premiere at the Annecy Animation Festival in June. So we are getting a full animated movie double feature of Batman Nightfall, which could lead into a Batman Night Quest depending on how it goes. So it's one of the stories that have yet to been animated. And honestly, and I'll say this out loud and put it on the DC executives that the one story I want to see made into a full animated movie series is the Green Lantern Battle of Lights. Like the where they introduce all the different colors and it's versus the black lanterns and the white lanterns come into play. I want that. I want that animated with an all-star cast and good animation. Just letting you know. A video game released yesterday on Steam called I Am Jesus Christ. And the game starts at Jesus's baptism, and you play in an open world, uh, first person game as Jesus, where you heal people and you feed the sick and you take care of the hungry, and it leads all the way up to the crucifixion where the game ends. Um, and you walk around Jerusalem performing miracles. There are more than 30 miracles in the game, including walking on water, healing the sick, calming the storms, restoring sight, feeding the 5,000. Um, yeah, and it's apparently a real game, and it's out there on Steam. So if you want to check, I don't know, like. I feel like I would have been a little more prone if the title wasn't I Am Jesus Christ, but I haven't played a game on Steam since a Doctor Who game came out that was only on Steam back when it was like peak Matt Smith time. But new I Am Jesus Christ game has been added to Steam if that is your jam. A new TV series about Peaky Blinders, which is a sequel series, I believe, is called what is it called? It's just a new Peaky Blinders series it's called, but Duke Shelby will be the main character in the new Peaky Blinders series. I've yet to watch the sequel movie, The Immortal Man. Just I haven't had time and bandwidth to be able to sit down and watch that yet, but I do plan to do that soon. Um, Tristan says, yes, it is a real game. He just looked it up. I looked it up too, bro. But here's the thing. I'm giving you news from the week that includes April Fool's Day. So I don't always trust everything. There is some Doctor Who news that I don't trust, and so it's not in the news updates. But it is what it is. Lucasfilm has officially confirmed that the Darth Maul series, Maul Shadow Lord, will receive a season two even before season one has premiered. So you can go ahead and invest your eggs in that basket because there will be more Darth Maul coming. You just don't have to. You don't have to worry and speculate on that. If you are a comic book collector and you need more reasons to buy comic books, which you don't, Marvel is giving fans an added bonus to pick up. Huh. I don't know why, but my live video ended. Marvel is giving fans a bonus reason to pick up the issue. You will get an exclusive Magic the Gathering Marvel card with Avengers Armageddon #1. And the card will include Tristan says trust nothing on the 1st of April. Yeah, exactly. Um, the card, hey Angelis, the card will include Wolverine and Iron Man facing off against Red Hulk. Yeah, and so that is coming in that capacity. Covered that. If you're going to see the Mario Brothers Galaxy movie, know that there are two post-credit scenes. There's a mid-credit and a post-credit. So if you're going to watch Mario, there are two credits, so you don't have to worry about looking it up while you're there. Um, Tiger Woods has had a rough week. He had a car crash where he's being charged with DUI. New body cam footage is showing that he tried to convince the cops to not charge him so that he could play in the Masters. and now he's got to convince the judge to let him leave the country for treatment because he can't get good treatment here because of his celebrity status and privacy. So I say none of this to just shame him. It's a rough road, and I hope he gets the best recovery. If you've listened to pop culture or paid attention to the news or anything for the last little while, um, Haley's not sorry, wrong person. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have been caught in a legal battle for over 2 years now with This Is Us and the drama that went along with filming This Is Us. And in this process, uh, This Is Us has officially, suffered as a property, but it's affected the careers of both of them, with Baldoni losing millions in acting and directing jobs, and Blake Lively doing lots of PR to try and keep her name above water. This past week, 10 of the 13 claims that uh, Lively made against Baldoni were officially dismissed in court, including the sexual harassment claims. That judges have thrown those out. So there are three claims that still remain and have not been dealt with yet, but the major ones, including sexual harassment, have officially been thrown out. And it's looking favorable in the long term for Baldoni in that case. In Kings County Sheriff, or in Kings County, there's footage showing a man dressed all in black with his face covered in a ski mask trying to push a man in front of a moving tram slash train slash subway. The young man's name is Elcio Melendez. He's been charged with second degree attempted murder with this incident. It was all caught on camera. Um, in front of a Seattle light train. He tried to push the dude in front of a train. That's terrible. Pam Bondi has been fired as Attorney General over backlash with the Epstein files. So the fact that people are still complaining about the Epstein files has officially gotten Pam Bondi fired for not dealing with it. And the White House press secretary is also in jeopardy of losing her job as well, because Trump is saying she's not doing a good job. The voice actor for Eugene uh, has uh, been involved in a fiery car crash of Eugene from Bob's Burgers. He was in New Hampshire, was in a bad collision, and the car was engulfed in flames. He did suffer severe injuries, but he is alive, and that's good. JD Vance, vice president, has a new book coming out about his conversion to Catholicism, and he is facing scrutiny and slash mockery, which just any political candidate always does. He is facing scrutiny and mockery because on the cover of his book, which is called Communion: Finding My Way Back to Faith, um, it has a church shown, but the church that's shown is a Methodist church, not a Catholic church. And so people are running with the humor of that altogether. It's okay. I put out a devotional on that's called Second Breakfast with Hobbit vibes, and there's no Lord of the Rings content in it. So I just like the name. It's okay though. Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Joseph Baena, won his first bodybuilding competition this past week. Congratulations to him. Uh, there was drama with the Chicago Bulls this week as they waived Jaden Ivey after he made anti-Pride Month comments on social media. Jaden Ivey commented that Pride Month was unrighteous in a social media comment and was officially waived by the Chicago Bulls for it, for the comment he made. And people have responded to him in various ways for it, but he he did not back down from his thoughts on that. A councilwoman in where was this? Do. A, a Dutch councilwoman uh, is defending the fact that she used an AI generated younger version of herself to get elected. Um, all of her campaign photos and even some of the video segments depicting this candidate in advertisements um, were an AI generated version of her that looks like a 27-year-old versus the fact that she's 59. And so she won the city council race um, without ever doing live appearances, and she just used this generated version of herself. And she says there's no reason why that should disqualify her. Uh, Colin Jost, Scarlett Johansson's husband, who has done a bang up job doing uh Weekend Update on SNL for years now, who's recently been doing more acting on SNL as Pete Hegseth for sketches, is set to star in a TV series about the rise and fall of Larry Lavin, an infamous dentist turned drug lord. Colin will also executive produce the show for Peacock alongside the actual dentist turned drug lord Lavin himself as another executive producer. I've never heard of this story, and it sounds fun. But also the fact that the dude is uh, producing the own show about him says that he's gonna have a ball with it. Um, Ready Player One is getting a graphic novel adaptation in several chunks. So if you're a fan of Ready Player One, the book is getting a graphic novel, not the movie. Um, but that'll be nice. I enjoyed Ready Player One, and I think I would enjoy a detailed graphic novel of the book itself. Scream 8 is happening, whether you want it to or not. Scream 7 happened, and while it may have been one of the lowest reviewed installments in the Scream franchise, it was one of the highest financial achieving installments on the Scream franchise, and it will be moving forward. And it will be moving forward with the team that wrote the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot, which did not get picked up by Hulu. And I don't know if that is encouraging or discouraging. Um, because a uh Scream movie based on some folks that couldn't sell a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot has me concerned. I'm just saying I don't feel like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing should have a hard sales pitch. You should be able to say, "Here's Sarah Michelle Gellar. She has a wooden stick. Green light it." But uh Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is officially getting its own dedicated YouTube channel. So if you just need some encouragement and positivity and someone in a cardigan sharing love with you, you'll be able to get that on a steady loop. Pokemon Champions will arrive on the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 next week, April 8th. If you're interested in that. John Jacobs sent me this story earlier this week that UFC middleweight fighter Joe Pfeiffer um, gave his testimony of overcoming suicidal thoughts by finding the Lord. After he won a fight recently, he gave him the mic and he said that he was suicidal. He had almost ended his life, but then he found Jesus and he found a reason to keep going. And, since then he's won some battles and had a chance to share his testimony. But congratulations to Joe Pfeiffer on winning, but also congratulations on Joe Pfeiffer on still being here, surviving, and finding Jesus in the process. Uh, there's a whiskey mogul um, named Raj Bhakta, who is the founder of Whistle Pig Whiskey. Chris Poirier, who formerly, Chris Poirier, who still works with the Pullers podcast, and formerly was actually briefly was the social media uh, dude for Whistle Pig Whiskey. Um, has officially donated a whole college campus. Let me say that again. The dude from Whistle Pig Whiskey has officially donated a whole college campus. So if you need a college campus, uh, listen up. He's giving away the $200 million Green Mountain College campus, but only to a Christian organization committed to the spiritual revival and Western civilization renewal. So if you are a Christian ministry that is dedicated to spiritual revival, you can go get yourself a whole college campus. Realistically, I see this and I'm like Bible camp, I'm like college ministry, I'm like there's so many potentials to this. But if you're a Christian ministry, there's a whiskey company that wants to give you a college. And you might have an in with Chris Poirier if you hit him up. NVIDIA has officially, the AI company has officially given $50 million to Austin Christian University for them to start a um, AI cybersecurity and tech degree program to bridge faith and innovation. I'm gonna make my little facial gestures and move on. I'm happy for a Christian college getting a $50 million gift. And we do need cybersecurity and tech degrees. So there's that. Um, a federal judge has officially rejected a proposed agreement between the IRS and Christian ministries. If you're not aware, it is against the law for a ordained or licensed minister or church ministry to promote political candidates. Period, with a D and a T on the end, an exclamation point. It's illegal. You can't do it. Can't get in front of a pulpit and tell somebody who to vote for or even talk about the candidacies in those ways. It's against the law. And it's against the law in the fact that the IRS can take away your nonprofit status and shut your church down if you do so legally. There was attempts to knock that down and to make exceptions for that. But a federal judge says, nah, no, we don't need that. We don't need churches officially endorsing candidates. Stop it. And so the IRS has officially shut that not the IRS shut that down, a federal judge shut that down on behalf of the country as the IRS actually was going to go along with it. So yeah. The U.S. Supreme Court has officially denied reviewing the case of the Tiger King, Joe Exotic. This was his final attempt at seeing his case reviewed and potentially dismissed on his 21-year prison sentence for murder for hire. And the Supreme Court said, "We saw the documentary. We don't need to hear this again." Um, so yeah. President Trump appears to be the first president that will have his name or his signature added to the uh, dollar bill. The first $100 bills with Trump's signature and that of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will be printed in June, making the first time since 1861 the U.S. Treasurer's signature is dropped from the currency. Um, yeah, that's kind of President Trump's signature will be on the $100 bill for a time period. Let's see. There is a upcoming discussion of the fact that ChatGPT will soon be able to have a look into your finances and help manage your finances if that's something you're interested in. But they will be able to access your bank accounts and your credit card information in order to be able to help you with your financial choices and stop you from being financially irresponsible. Yeah, please hear me out. Let's give that the full control of your money. Watch how that goes. Skynet, Terminator, Apocalypse. Those are all words. Um, Tristan, I don't know if this affects you because no, anytime I talk about Australia, it's not your part of Australia. Skies over Western Australia turned a surreal blood red this week as dust whipped up ahead of tropical cyclone Narelle, creating an eerie, almost apocalyptic scene. It was caused by dense dust that scattered at sunlight. Residents reported the air felt choking and that it was incredibly eerie outside and everything is covered in dust. No, not a lot of wind yet. Um, the dust could be felt on your nose and on your mouth. So yeah. Doo-doo-doo. Uh, Also in more fun AI developments, fun in air quotes. Tinder will be teaming up with AI in the future in order to help find you the right date. Tinder will be allow if you choose to, Tinder will use your phone's information to find a more honest match for you, including paying attention to what actually interests you, paying attention to the physical traits you actually seem to focus on and find attractive, and it will scroll through your phone to find out which matches really do match the most. And hypothetically speaking, this will be a feature that works best with other people doing the same thing. So it will look through two people's phones and find them the matches that are honestly the best ones. Tristan says it is in the same state, but very much to the north of y'all. Yeah, I didn't see you posting apocalypse pictures, so I figured it couldn't be too close. Uh, Also, Australia have has halved its fuel tax and offered more free public transport do going along with the Iran war costs and crisis. This move would cut the cost of fuel by 26.3 Australian cents or 18 cents per liter. Victoria is also offering free travel through April throughout Victoria is also offering free travel throughout April, while Tasmania has waived fares until the end of June. And though other states have so far declined to follow suit. So certain parts are letting people ride cheaper. The Artemis 2 has officially launched. This is the first manned space probe to the moon in over 50 years. It is a 10-day mission. And even though it's a 10-day mission, it faced toilet problems within 5 hours of the first, or within 5 hours of the launch, which is if you're a Big Bang fan, if you're a Big Bang Theory fan, you know it's Wallace's fault. But yes, they faced toilet issues within the first 5 hours. Um, the Dust and things settled that was also just mentioned in Australia also did make its way over to Crete and Greece and turned the sky orange more so than red. A U.S. journalist was kidnapped in Baghdad. Shelley Kiddison was kidnapped off the street as she's spent years reporting on Middle East news and bringing up different things. She was kidnapped off the street. One arrest has been made, one vehicle has been found, but she has not been found herself. Um, and there are two pieces of Doctor Who news that I am 93% sure are April Fool's things, but I haven't found things directly debunking it either. So I'm going to say these with the full caveat this is probably not true. This is just probably April Fool's stuff that I haven't been able to debunk yet. Maybe this one it leans more a little bit true, but there's a Doctor Who Paramount collaboration called Gallifrey and Academy from Alex Kurtzman coming to BBC that would focus on young Time Lords being trained. Don't, again, grain of salt, probably April Fool's joke, but the other one that I'm 99.4% sure is a uh is fake news is that there is going to be Doctor Who one-offs where there'll be single specials for the look at different regenerations of the Doctor, and one of the first ones will be Rupert Grint. aka Ron Weasley. And I'm so sure this is just a ginger joke for Doctor Who fans, but yeah, throwing it out there that it was reported. And here's the deal: a lot of now headlines and stuff that we see are generated by AI uh, in the news feeds, which makes it harder for them to actually determine April Fool's jokes from reality. So take that with a grain of salt. Bob Dylan has joined Patreon with his own AI content. He is charging fans $5 to be able to receive lectures from the grave. This will be a series that'll feature audio shorts and essays about historical figures using AI generated voices and writing. So you'll be able to hear bedtime stories from a long deceased Bob Dylan in the future if you pay $5 a month. Um, uh, Two long missing Doctor Who episodes will be returning today to the BBC iPlayer and available in different places. Um, they are from the original series from 1965 or 63 was the original, but these are from the 1965 series that have been long missing. But they will be returning to the BBC iPlayer today. They feature the original Dr. William Hartnell, and they were long lost, but they were recently discovered in someone's private film collection after decades of being missing. If you've not seen it, McDonald's has a K-pop Demon Hunter collaboration where you can get a Saja Boys breakfast or a Huntress lunch and dinner. The Saja Boys comes with like a spicy breakfast sandwich, and the box is half Saja Boys, half Huntrix. And you get cards like Pokemon cards that are kind of holographic in the meal. It also comes with, at least the lunch one comes with ramen flavored shake fries. And there is a McFlurry with blueberry popping boba that is called the Derpy McFlurry. So if you want that, I got it for my kid yesterday. It was good. Um, KB, Christian hip hop artist, podcaster, and pastor, was involved in a head-on collision this week that left him feeling nauseous and potentially dealing with concussion. His spring tour starts this in Cincinnati on April 9th, and he's assured fans that he should be fine and ready to perform then. By the way, I'm going to see KB and Tripoli on that tour in Myrtle Beach. I've got an extra ticket if somebody's trying to uh, turn down for what. Well, that's our news for the week. Jonathan sent me an attachment. Let me see what he says. Um, yeah. Somebody was talking about one of the artists there. There's a canceled Jesus issue of Swamp Thing that is finally coming out from number 88 in 1989. There was an issue where Swamp Thing eventually becomes the cross that Jesus was crucified on, but it got canceled in the 80s. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do our roll for initiative Bible reading. Oh, paper, scissors, dice before I dump this whole bag out. Here we go. All right. So we've got, there we go. Sorry, I forgot the camera moved up. We've got rock is Old Testament, scissors is New Testament, paper is the whole Bible. It's for Instagram. Rock, paper, or rock, scissors, paper. All right, so let's see what we're going to read. We got whole Bible, which means we're going to roll three D20s and a D10. Tristan says he's jealous and I'm seeing KB. Once upon a time, like in 2015, I technically was part of a KB tour. Maybe 2016, but the whichever album had um not Today Satan, Tomorrow We Live. Um yeah, whichever album that was. Uh they were KB was coming through my region and had Social Club opening for him, which was honestly in full disclosure, I was there for Social Club as much because that was just when I was learning about KB. Um but yeah, KB did this tour and uh they were still trying to effectively fund the tour because KB, wasn't full KB at that point in time. And so they had artists, they basically had an artist alley type situation at the KB tour. So if you were a Christian creator, you could pay a booth fee and set up at a KB concert. And part of it was if you did that, you got to go on stage and uh quickly promote your product. So I got to go on a KB tour um and hop up and like, yo, I've got these nerdy Bible studies and la la la, and I threw some out into the crowd and it was a really good day. And Fern from Social Club gave me marketing tips, which I think I implemented pretty well. And but I ended up being at a couple of these and where Fern from Social Club would be like, "Hey, comic book man." Got some photos from all this way back in the day, and Vincent, who was my partner in Faith and Fandom at that point in time, did a painting of Social Club as Mario and Luigi, and Fern from Social Club was really angry that he was Luigi, but I think that's the only way that would work. Um, but yeah, uh, all that being said, let's see what book we're reading. All right. Let's math. I rolled a nat one on that one, so that's not great. Um, that's a 13. That's 14 altogether. Plus 16 is 30. Plus 9 is that. So we got 30. Yeah, we got 39 minus 3, which gives us 36. So we'll be in the 36th book of the Bible. Put these D20s back where they go. Be in the 36th book of the Bible, which is the Old Testament, and it's 3 books from the end. So sit you over here. But yeah, I'm Tripoli and KB are gonna see them soon. I'm also gonna see Rend Collective, which I'm excited about coming up as well. All right, 36th book of the Bible. No, yeah, 36th book of the Bible. So that's 39, 37. Sorry, 39, 38, 37. 36 is Zephaniah. And I feel like we've done Zephaniah. We might be having a re-roll. Let's check the handy dandy notebook. Oh, we have not done Zephaniah. Never mind. Um, and there is 3 chapters in Zephaniah. So we're gonna roll a D4 and we'll just take whichever one. That's a 2. So Zephaniah chapter 2, which is 1072. Oh boy, sounds fun. Judah and Jerusalem judged along with the nations. Yay. All right, so we got that marked on our tracker. All right, let's go put this down in our notes. Feel like I'm about to fill up this whole Bible study section here, which is pretty good. It's an accomplishment. At the very least, y'all help me read the Bible once a month or once a week. Today is 4/3/26. The book is Zephaniah. Chapter is 2. This is my little Snorlax pen my daughter Carmen made me. This is not just me trying to sell my kids pens, but she does a good job. I'm proud of her. Um, all right. So Zephaniah chapter 2. All right. Let's do it. Gather together, gather yourselves together, you shameful nation. It lift my head a little. Before the decrees take effect, and the day passes like a wind-blown chaff, before the Lord's fierce anger comes upon you, before the day of the Lord's wrath comes upon you, seek the Lord, all you humble of the land, you who do what he commands. Seek righteousness, seek humility. Perhaps you will be sheltered on the day of the Lord's anger. Gaza will be abandoned, Ashkelon left in ruins. At midday, Ashdod will be emptied, and Ekron will be uprooted. Woe to you who live by the sea, the Crethite people. The word of the Lord is upon you. Canaan, the land of Philistines, he says, I will destroy you, and none will be left. The land by the sea will become pastures, having wells for shepherds and pittance for flocks. The land will become to the remnant of the people of Judah. There they will find pasture. In the evening they will lie down in the houses of Ashkelon, and the Lord their God will take care of them. He will restore their fortunes. I have heard the insults of Moab and the taunts of the Ammonites who insulted my people and made threats against their land. Therefore, as surely as I live, declares the Lord of Almighty, the God of Israel, surely Moab will become like Sodom, the Ammonites like Gomorrah, a place of weeds and salt pits, a wasteland forever. The remnant of my people will plunder them, and their survivors of their nation will inherit their land. This is what they will get in return for their pride, for insulting and mocking the people of the Lord Almighty. Just glad to be on. I hope to be on the side of the Lord's anger when it comes to mocking his people. The Lord will be awesome to them when he destroys all the gods of the earth. That's a whole phrase right there. When he destroys all the gods of the earth. Distant nations will bow down to him in all of their lands. You Cushites too will be slain by my sword. He will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria, leaving Nineveh utterly desolate and dry as the desert. Flocks and herds will lie down there, creatures of every kind. The desert owl and the screech owl will roost among her columns. Their hooting will echo throughout the windows, and the rubble will fill the doorways. The beams of cedar will be exposed. The city of revelry, that lived in safety, she said to herself, I am the one, and there is none besides me. What a ruin she has become, a lair for wild beasts. All who pass by scoff and shake their fists. So, not always the biggest fan of getting like the destruction chapters and stuff like that, but it's part of the story, and you can't ignore it because if you ignore part, you have to ignore the whole. And this is part of it, the fact that God has a chosen people and that he dealt with their enemies as enemies, and but they also felt the consequences of their own actions when it comes to it. So let's do this. Main passage focus, the destruction. nations who disobeyed and who mocked. Who wrote it? Prophet Zephaniah. Which, by the way, 2 points. If without Googling it, you can name the supertone song um, that mentions the prophet Zephaniah. Just 2 points, though. I don't say what those do for you. Who was it written to? People of Israel. When was it written? I don't know. Zephaniah, Bible, Book of Zephaniah. It was written in the mid 7th century, likely between 640 and 622 BC. Why was it written? Warning. And where was this? This was um it's Jerusalem, but just before the fall of Nineveh. Huh. All right, symbolism present. There's a lot of symbolism, or at least a fair amount of symbolism. Uh Talked about pastures that the big cities will become pastures, wastelands, layers for animals. Yeah. Verse that stood out. Honestly, my favorite, the verse that stood out the most to me, verse 11, where it says, "The Lord will be awesome to them when he destroys all the gods of the earth." And that's one of the things that I think that we see a lot in scripture of, like, especially in the Old Testament, about not having other gods before him and, all the lowercase g gods. I think that God just straight up saying, "Yeah, I'm going to destroy all of them." Like, A says they exist, and B says that he'll destroy them. So the gods thing is there. Um, what can you learn from this is be on the right side of God's anger. Uh, how can I apply this? Live faithfully, live obediently, repent, and trust God. What's up, David? Good morning. Was anything hard to understand? I'll say yes. Just the Old Testament mindset of just destructions of whole nations and people groups, um, is so brutally contrasting, to Jesus, that it's hard for me to wrap my head around, sometimes. Pop culture parallel, just the fact that he made that verse reference that he was going to destroy all the other gods. There's a video game called Smite where you battle as deities. And so that's the first thing that popped in my mind with that. Um, and it says the one verse that I do see that I don't know if there's a memeable verse though. There wasn't anything that just popped outside of like that Smite reference or maybe the Loki thing of there's only one God man and he doesn't dress like this. But the verse about seek the Lord, all you humble of the land, you who do what he commands, seek righteous, seek humility, perhaps you will be shepherded or sheltered from the Lord's anger. I don't know if there's a memeable verse. But yeah, there doesn't always have to be one. What song would be the soundtrack? Um, uh, Honestly, like just being totally honest about my first thought would be War Pigs, the cover from T-Pain is my first thought that goes to this. Um, but realistically, what should be something on God's mercy because that's what they should be seeking out. Um, so I would go with I Repent from Derek Webb or Thy Mercy from Caedmon's Call, which are both technically the same bubble. All right, that's all of our news and our roll for initiative Bible reading. Um, Stuff going on with me. Uh, Still I am in the appeal process on my insurance stuff. Technically it was up around GalaxyCon, but we did get in touch with my doctor, and they are still reviewing some stuff. I had some, not to be over dramatic. I had some issues this week, the beginning of the week, um, where genuinely I was scared for my future and well-being. Um, like Monday or Tuesday yeah, somewhere in there, I was like my body was scaring me. Um, we'll see how it plays out. I'm good though. That being said, still working on that. Uh, Bite size second breakfast is out, and thank y'all for who have bought it and supported it. Um, been doing, if you aren't aware, I'm doing weekly mini devotionals on the socials, doing bite-sized audios for there. I've not kept up putting the backlog of those on the podcast channel, but I will sit down and do those somewhere in the future. Um, I am currently working on the D&D book that I'm writing, the fantasy novel. I am on chapter 21. And I'm gonna say this book's gonna go to either chapter 30 or 40. So I'm either halfway or a third of the way. But either way, I'm enjoying the story and I'm going on vacation Sunday through Tuesday after we do Easter service. So I'll probably get a lot written there. Um, yeah, but thank y'all for taking the time to be encouraging and supporting. I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. As I zoom in because my eyes aren't great. I need to make sure I send some love that way. All right. Let's go. Sorry, I'm clicking buttons and it's such a small screen. There we go. Maybe. All right. All right. I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters, Zach T, um, Roshan Roshan like the ocean, Ryan Felton, Jessica Luttrell, Kelly Townsend, Alan Wallace, Fab Quack, Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dot Wilson, Michelle Stewart, Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, Matthew, or the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Zach Karras, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for supporting the ways that you do. I hope you have a great day, a great weekend, a great Easter weekend. Good morning, Mr. Riley. Hope you all have a great time. Tristan says, got my copy. Um, But I hope this is a great Easter weekend for y'all. I hope that it's an encouraging time, and that you are experiencing renewed life and joy in your world in a daily way. Um, I'll read our verse because think I cleaned my desk off and I don't know what I did my little card. Um, but First John or Third John, verse 2. I have to make a new card. Dear friends, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen, and I hope that I get to see you all at a con real soon. Bye.